Welcome, everyone, to Lending Our Shared Stories for grief support. You know, sometimes the hardest, the most difficult question when dealing with grief is when someone says, hello, how are you? Ooh, that question can be very challenging. Any witnesses sometime, because sometimes we don't know how in the world we're doing. And so we want to always say, I'm what?
All
I'm
right.
fine.
Okay.
And there's that mask that we put on. And that's what the enemy, he wants. Let's continue to wear it. But, you know, like I called a friend today and God inspired me to reach out. And I'm just didn't know why, but I'm thankful because I was just that listening ear. And sometimes, you know, as L.O.S.S, Lending Our Shared Stories, Agents of Change, I want to admonish and encourage you all. If you're nothing but a listening ear, just be that. You don't have to be the psychologist. You don't have to be anyone's therapist. They have plenty of people out there that are licensed and trained to prescribe medications. We're not licensed to prescribe anything but offer a hope in our story if they're willing to listen. I want to ask a question that you don't have to answer, but think about it. What are some things you are dealing with tonight that you can't share with anyone? You feel like you can't open up, you don't want to disclose it. I want to tell you that it's okay because God already knows what that is that's inside your heart. And if you're here tonight and you're just listening, I want to thank God for each and every one of you. Grief is something that happens to all of us, and so is loss. Loss of a parent, loss of a child, loss of a sibling, loss of relationships, loss of self, loss of identity. There's so much and it's complex. And so you can't say nobody cares because I care. Let me see the hands of those who care. Let me see. We care because I would not be doing this for 5 years if I didn't care. First of all, I need it. First of all, I need Lending Our Shared Stories. And I know sometimes it's like, I don't want to hear it, but where else am I going to hear it? Because I don't know anybody. I don't know many ministries that is doing this. L.O.S.S is Lending Our Shared Stories. We're a grief support group who will listen. We are not counselors. We're going to tell you we don't know what to say. We're going to tell you that we don't understand what you're going through, but we're here. We're going to love you through it. We're going to show empathy and compassion and teach us how to love you.
My name is Talisha Huddleston. Many here in Clarksville know me as Minister Huddleston. Busy Bee Ministries, let me tell you first a little bit about this. I want to say thank you. Thank you guys for having me on here to be able to share a special piece of me with all of you. And I'm just grateful to be here. Grateful. Busy Bee Ministries is here to help individuals who have suffered a medical misfortune. And sometimes a medical misfortune leads to a financial misfortune, which is grief. Grief does qualify as a medical misfortune. Grief comes in like a bad storm, and it literally devours different parts of us, leaving us left picking up the pieces. But in the midst of the grief happening over the years, because grief doesn't just stop. It doesn't stop. It's like an ongoing thing, but we learn how to control it and maintain and still live despite what happened. But what I'm getting at here is when I say, have you found your dream home yet? Each one of us should already have it. That dream home is this body. This body that our soul lives in is supposed to be the dream home, the home of our dreams. And when we've suffered from a medical misfortune, sometimes it's hard to lose track of that this is the dream home. And we try to find it elsewhere because we're feeling so broken and so lost and so hurt despite everything that has happened all around us. And sometimes those pieces are just too hard to pick up by ourselves. But that's what Busy Bee Ministries do. We help you pick up the pieces to rebuild and restore your dream home, which is you. I want you guys to look at this picture. I don't know if you can make out what's on here or not. Can y'all see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
On this here, it says there are peaks. There are peaks in every mountain. I want you guys to there are peaks in every mountain. And then I've got, you can't really see it here, but we're gonna pretend. There's little water here off to the sides. Okay, there's water off to the sides, and there's this big mountain sitting in its center. Okay. If you've ever dealt with grief, if you're currently going through grief, depending on where you're at with grief, you might be in that water. I call that water my Jordan River.
Okay.
That water is the Jordan River. It's something that's hard to get across, but then yet you can see that big mountain that's sitting out in front of us, and we think if we could just make it to the mountain, if we could just make it to the shore. I am here. Yes, I could tell you my story, which is a sad one, but I'm not doing that today.
Praise God.
I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to show you a lesson on how to get through that Jordan River of your own.
Thank you.
Now, I want us to understand that when we look at this mountain, and you see there's people down here on the bottom of it, right down here, okay? Once we make it through the Jordan River and you use the gift that's trapped inside of you, there is one there. And that gift keeps you busy once you discover what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You become so busy with that gift, and you're going to be swimming, and you're going to be pedaling, and you're going to be making it through that water. The gift is going to make room for you to get you to the mountain. But once you get to the mountain, it doesn't stop there. You got to make it to the top. And as you can see, the little person here sitting here at the top. And as you can see, the little levels of the mountain, and you see the people are still down. 10 years I've been climbing this mountain. 10 years. Every mountain has a peak, okay? There's a peak right in here on the first year of that grief. There's a peak right in here on the second year of that grief. Right in here on the 8th year of that grief. There's a peak at every level of that mountain. And somebody's there for you. They're waiting for you to tell them how you did it. How did you get out of that Jordan River? How did you get to level 1 of that mountain?
Yes.
Once we make it to the top of this mountain, from the lessons learned from being in this water, every lesson learned, whether it was the lesson learned that the light got cut off, whether it was the lesson learned that there's no one to help you with the kids.
Oh my God.
Lesson learned that the plumbing is now broken. There's no one here to fix it. Whether the lesson learned is now the car is broke down with a flat tire on the side of the road, and my David is not here for me to call anymore to come and say, Mama, I got you. Those are the lessons learned, is how we got through that hard place. You got through it and you came out on the other side. Now, once you make it on whatever level you're on, it can be level 4. Your job, my job, our job is to go back down, yes, to that water, go back down, and these people down here, you're to tell them how to get to level 1, level 3, all the way to level 10. That is why you have the gift that you have on the inside. It's not to stay broken. It's not to remain broken. You're being back together each level that you climb. See what I'm saying? Now I've made it to level 10. Each level, you got something to say to these people down here. This is what I have to say to you, that I'm at 10 years in on this grief journey. 10 years in, and the sun is up here shining down on me. This is what I want to share. The thing that my David told me in that dream that keeps me going. He said, Mama, he was a country boy, y'all. Country boy, rode bulls and everything. Country boy. he said, Mama, Jesus is real. Now, we're not going to stay down forever. We got to keep going. We have to keep pedaling. If not, that Jordan River is going to eat you up. I'm to share everything I've learned every step of the way with you guys and keep someone else going. Share with them how to get out of that Jordan River and how to make it.
Yeah, so I like the allegory that she shared because, you know, we look at ourselves as being broken. You know, I'm broken. My heart's broken. My body's probably broken. We have physical things that, you know, breaking. And so we feel like we're broken. And what she's saying is, no, you're not. You know, you're still alive. Your soul's alive. Your body's still alive. It's just you're wounded,
Yes.
but you know, you can heal. And the way we heal sometimes is going through the adversities like the river and fighting our way through things because there is the other side. I like that idea. And that's what L.O.S.S does. We go out and we find the one that's maybe only been a widow for a year or a widower for a year, you know. And some are 1 year, some are 10 years, 15 years, doesn't matter, like she said. But what we go through, we can pull somebody else up out of that river and show them that there is a future ahead, even though it may not be what you'd planned, but you know, we're still here.
So I want you guys, like, think about your loss and go back to the age, like I met my husband at 22. So my therapist said, what were you doing before 22? I don't know. I want you guys to think, what were some of the things that you used to do that excited you before? If it was a loss of a person in your life, or if it could have been mama, that's mama was always in your life. But what were some of the joys that you had when your mama was alive, or when your sibling? What were some of the things that you like to do? I used to like to go for a ride in my car, like a drive. But when I got married to Robert, he drive me all these places, and it's like I forgot how to drive. Like, okay, honey, I'll sit in the passenger seat and you just drive. So I've taken road trips. I love to drive. I was sharing that with my friend Cece. She said, we're going to take us a road trip. Now I love to drive. It's like, if you want the help is here. If you want the help, I want you to hear me what I say. Because if that's not you tonight, why are you on this Zoom? I want you to be here. You're here because you want the help. Who wants to stay down? Who wants to stay sad? Anybody just want to stay sad?
No.
Raise your hand.
No.
Who wants to stay depressed? Show me.
No.
I may be depressed, but I don't want to stay here.
Mm-mm.
I mean, how about that? I don't want to stay here. Think about your purpose. What is it that you're supposed to be doing? What is it that you think? You've had all of this loss. What's next for me? Do you want to travel? Do you want to see the world? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to start working out, getting healthy, get fit? Whatever you desire to do,